You want to sit down on the piano bench with me?
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born.
Thank you. That was just wonderful.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Elder Carr, so I'm currently serving in the Hutchinson ward, and I'm excited to show you something my family does each Christmas. So we make our own ornaments out of Jolly Ranchers. It's something, I'm not exactly sure how it got started. I think my older sister just wanted some ornaments on the tree that she could eat, but we've been doing it ever since, and it's one of my favorite things. So to get started, you need a nice cookie sheet, some metal ornaments. You have to make sure they're metal, because otherwise the plastic ones would melt in the oven. But yeah, a cookie sheet lined with foil so the Jolly Rancher doesn't stick and stay on there forever. And yeah, then you need a lot of Jolly Ranchers. We found it's best to use wooden skewers. You can use a straw or something like that to poke the holes in the Jolly Rancher at the end, but we found these work best. Then you'll want to preheat your oven at 350 degrees and get your assortment of Jolly Ranchers ready. But okay, well, onto this. So first off, we'll need to spray down the cooking pan. And you can be fairly generous with this. You just need to make sure the inside of your ornaments is sprayed down. Otherwise, they'll stick like no tomorrow. And that's sad. So then you get to do the fun part, and you get to choose what Jolly Ranchers you want to put in there. So we have a large assortment of different Jolly Ranchers here, and we'll be able to do a lot of fun things with this. When choosing what Jolly Ranchers, you'll want to make sure that you do the good colors that will mix together well. They'll blend a little bit at the edges, and you'll be able to swirl the candy together with your skewer. Okay, so we are going to go like this, and we'll do a classic pink in here. We'll do a little bit of pink watermelon flavor, and then some purple. And for these size of cookie cutters, we found 3 generally works good. If it's a little larger or a little smaller, you'll have to adapt that. But generally it's better to go on the side of more Jolly Ranchers than you really need for it. So it'll melt out underneath, under the sides of the cookie cutter. And we've done this every year for as long as I remember, and we do so many fun things with it. And afterwards, you get to eat them. I remember one time my brother was in the car and eating one of the Jolly Ranchers and he fell asleep with it in his mouth. So that was pretty. Just make sure you don't fall asleep while eating them and you should be good to go. Well, yeah, so we've done a lot of things with these. And I remember one time I got curious and I was like, I bet you could like swirl the colors around afterwards, right? Because that seems like something you'd be able to do, make them look all fancy. And we did that. We've done all sorts of things with them. We've made little gingerbread men shaped ones that look like they're wearing overalls with the blue Jolly Rancher, or, you know, we've just all sorts of stuff. Done stars that are all swirled together, and it's pretty cool. Now when doing this, you'll probably want to make sure you use a lot of reds because you have 2 different red colors and we're limited on the other ones. So just be careful with that. And let's do a blue for this little one over here. Oh no. And if they break like this, that's all right. Just means you get to put it somewhere else and you get even cooler ornaments. So you put the last Jolly Rancher in and you should be good to go. So now what you do, you put the Jolly Ranchers in the oven for about 5 minutes. You'll want to check up on them around there and see whether they need a little bit longer, a little bit less. What you want is for them to just barely be melted all the way. You don't want any browning of the sugars. Okay, and in we go. There we go. Okay. I think it's done. Oh, don't fall off, hot pad. Make sure your hot pads don't fall in the oven. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna go like this. And there we go. So, that's loud. So you don't have long after you've put them down. So if you want to hurry and swirl things around, now's the time to do it. So I'm gonna just go on in here and just with like the pointier end, it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna take this ornament here and just swirl the colors around a little bit and just make some unique patterns in these. So this candy cane, we can go ahead and just pull down the colors here, make it look nice and dramatic. This one, we'll go ahead and just do like some zigzags through it. And then this heart, you can go ahead and try and pull the purple up to kind of come up in the shape of a heart and see how that looks. Hopefully this works out. You never really know until it cools down completely how things turned out. Okay, I think I'll just leave the star like that. But this one, I also wanted to just, oh, it's starting to cool down. You might have to hold down the pan with a hot pad as you go. You'll see it's thickening up, so you don't have a whole lot of time left when it does that. Otherwise, the little bumps will stay. Hopefully they'll even out. So now what you gotta do, you gotta go around and trace around all of the cookie cutters. Make sure that there's no Jolly Rancher on the outside touching the cookie cutter, or it'll be hard to separate. So you'll just take it and go around and pull the Jolly Rancher away with the sharp end of the skewer. And this is where having the wooden skewers really helps out a lot. You just have a straw or something like that, it doesn't work out too well. But the faster you can do it, the better. And you can just peel the Jolly Rancher off the skewer there. Sometimes, if you're not fast enough, we've had Jolly Rancher ornaments that just have like large pieces stuck to them still. And other times we've tried to separate them too early, and then we'll come back and there will be a whole new slew of Jolly Rancher that we have to go in and clean up. So that's no fun either. So you gotta make sure to wait for just the right moment and do it as fast as you can. Almost done. And usually while somebody's doing this, my mom would have another pan with cookie cutters already laid out, and us little kids would be filling in the next set of Jolly Ranchers while my mom slaved away trying to clear off all of the Jolly Rancher off the ornaments out here. So she worked hard on it. We just had a lot of fun. But no. So I waited a little too long for some of these. So this bit here is getting difficult. So that one might just be dead. We'll have to see what we can do after we pull it out. Now what you gotta do is you take this flat circle end of this skewer, and you go ahead and you poke some holes in the top. Just like that. And after you do that, this is just so you have something to string it through. Just make sure you go as quickly as possible. If you do it too early, the Jolly Rancher will flow back together, and then you'll come back to find that you don't have a hole left to string it through, which is no fun. And we're just about done. And if you aren't sure that you got through all the way, that's fine. This one, it's just too hard now for me to even poke a hole through. So you just gotta eat that one, I guess. Which is the great thing about these too, they're edible. So after you've poked the hole through them, you can go around and just use the flat end of your skewer and gently lift up the ornament, the cookie cutters here, and just use the skewer to keep the Jolly Rancher in place. You'll want to do this before it has time to cool down all the way, 'cause otherwise it'll be stuck on there. And we are just about done. So this one broke off. We didn't have enough time to do that. So you gotta be careful with these. They are quite fragile. We dropped one on the carpet in our apartment and it still broke. But, so if there's some where the hole didn't go all the way through, it should be thin enough now that if you take the sharp end of a skewer, you can poke right through. So then you can make sure you have a hole good enough to string things through. They are quite oily right now because we used a lot of cooking spray. So you'll go ahead and, oh, this one's not going through. Oh no, I like how this one turned out. Shucks. That choops. Oh well, one of our cool ones has died, but that happens when making these. You won't have all of them turn out well. That's why you make a bunch. And because they look cool on your stained glass. They're like stained glass hanging on your tree. So go ahead and take your Jolly Rancher ornaments and just wipe them down with a paper towel now. You can just place them on the side. And then you get the most fun part of the job, which is tying strings through it all. I hated doing that as a kid, but it's something my mom would have us do so that we could finally hang them on the tree. And usually a couple would be dropped and you'd hear something like, "Oh no!" Mom would come rushing over and be like, "Everything okay?" It's like, "Yep, I just dropped an ornament." She's like, "Okay, be more careful." Something else that's fun to do with the ones that break is you can break them into smaller pieces and then you have more minuscule pieces like put around in the cookie cutter. I've made a Christmas tree that had like red edges and then it was green in the middle or other things like that. And you can only do that with small pieces of Jolly Rancher. Okay, so now let's tie these together. So just go ahead and get ribbon, or if you have something else you're wanting to do with it. We are using this. Pretty fancy. And go ahead and just tie a square knot on the top or whatever kind of knot you love best. You know, you just want to make sure it doesn't fall off when you hang them on the tree. And if you have cats, well then you're used to ornaments falling off the tree and breaking. And these will do the same thing once hit off, unfortunately. But they're pretty easy to make. So don't let that deter you. You can go ahead and just tie these on. And if you make a whole bunch of these, then you can just string 20, 30, 40 of them on your tree, and when you come out Christmas morning and your tree is just full of these ornaments that are ready to eat. So not only do you have candy in your stocking, but you also have candy all over your tree. Just hopefully it's not too old. Depending on when you make them, we'll have to see whether or not you actually want to eat them. But we ate them as little kids anyways. We didn't care all that much. Okay, let me just put this last one on. So we are only left with 5, unfortunately, that survived the ordeal of being made into ornaments. 3 of them broke, which I'm really sad about this one because it just looks really cool. I was able to scroll that around real nice, but I can make another one that looks like it pretty easily. Well, now we get to go and hang this on the tree. Okay. You can just hang these up wherever you want. Just be sure that they don't fall, because that would be really sad. When you hang them up right in front of a light, then they're like all lit up from behind and they look adorable. So enjoy, and I hope you liked making these Jolly Rancher ornaments. We make them every year. It's my favorite thing to do as a family. And we would do this every year and we come closer together as a family when doing things like this, and it really brings the Christmas spirit, and you get to try something new. So go and give it a try and let us know how these work out for you.